Okay, so this really has my blood boiling. I'm trying to be calm about this, but it's just. This anti gun bill would require the social media history and internet search history of prospective buyers. They talk about social media. They talk about that guy who shot up the synagogue and how he posted to social media right before he went in and did the deed. Okay, so that's the excuse they're using. That's the shoehorn. You know, they're using tragedy, they're using emotion, and it's just an excuse. The real attack is this internet search history. Internet search history. That is, just a major privacy issue there. I mean, this bill that they're talking about, this will be for gun owners as well. Okay, it'll be retroactive. But they want people to hand over their username and passwords for not just their social media, but for Google and Bing as well. So they're not just looking at your social, media posts. They want all, everything you've been looking at, everything you're interested in on the internet. Okay, this bill, is not just an attack on the Second Amendment, but this is, the whole Bill of Rights is basically violated. This bill is completely shredding the Bill of Rights. Your right to free speech, your right to privacy, your right to due process, not least of all, your Second Amendment rights. This is gun confiscation legislation. Every anti-gun bill is just a piece in the puzzle for an ultimate plan for death of 1,000 cuts. No one piece of legislation, no one attack is meant to be the final blow. It is a relentless assault that's just one after another. Every time, though, it gets bigger. Every time they have a success, every time they're able, actually, even when they fail, the next thing is always bigger than the last one. There's no appeasing them. There's no, okay, well, we'll just give them this little bit. No. They always say they want just this one little thing. They always have their little excuse, their event. That's, it's always this one thing. We just need to do this one thing because of this one situation. But it all snowballs. It all gets worse and worse. There would be massive upheaval if something like this had been tried even 10 years ago, 5 years ago. It's not going to keep anyone safe either. This is just going to encourage illegal gun sales. People are going to say, screw getting a gun legally. I can get one on the street easily enough. And it's going to be make for a more dangerous society as all guns become illegal, because then there's no regulation, there's no background checks being done at all. If people just simply give up on the system, which is inevitable with these draconian rules. I mean, how many people watching this video would want anybody going through their internet search history and judging you in hindsight with what they find there, with no context other than their preconceptions about you? Is that something you would want? Is that something that you feel would be constitutional? Just in the off chance it might stop a few people from being shot, which there's no evidence that it would. It's a insane leap to say, oh, well, the guy used social media, therefore social media was a key element in the event. No, it wasn't. Everybody uses social media. I mean, You may as well just say he had a cell phone. So anybody who has a cell phone must surrender all of their civil liberties. That's insane. It's asinine. I mean, this is not just a gun bill. This is a massive restriction of freedom bill for the state of New York. But, right now it's just New York. But if this goes through, if New York submits to this, then they have a lot more terrible things coming their way, and this will spread to other states. You're basically judging people on what you think they might do. That is really scary. And who's interpreting this? Who's interpreting what you might do? Could it possibly be somebody who already doesn't like your politics? Somebody who doesn't like the person that you voted for, or the person they think you voted for based on a out of context view of your internet search history and social media. They can, they say they want to go back 3 years, but I wouldn't want them going back 3 days. I mean, just think of the potential abuses of this. I mean, just think of what a great source of blackmail this would be to a corrupt bureaucrat with access. I mean, this could become just an endless nightmare, just straight up 1984 level of privacy loss. I'm not exaggerating. And this may not pass, and this may not be law yet, but this is a glimpse of what's to come, because this has been going on for decades. Anybody who's been paying attention to this knows that even if they're not getting it this time, what they got this last election, it's what they couldn't get, 5-10 years ago, but they get it now, because it's relentless, unending assault. Unapologetic, tireless attack, and it just gets worse from here. This is not the end. This is not, like I said, they will not be happy whether they get this or they don't get this. There is no satisfying them. And I keep going back to 1984, but they were never satisfied with the level of power that they had over people, even with complete and total control over their minds and what they could think. It was still, continued pursuit of power for power's sake. Anyway, that's about all. I suggest that you find this article on newswars.com yourself. You could also find the article on fee.org. So do your own research, as I always say. Don't use Google. Use DuckDuckGo. And constant vigilance is the price of freedom. So stay vigilant, my friends.